Hello and welcome to the Cesspool podcast, where we talk about everything and anything, no matter how disgusting or offensive. This is our second episode, but we will still be introducing ourselves. I'm your co-host Tyler with my other co-host Joseph.
Our guest today is Noah. We'll be talking about current events for our first section. So, current events, Article 1, U.S. eyes tougher stance on drug mergers. So, the Federal Trade Commission is preparing to take a harder line on drug company mergers, outlining plans Tuesday to overhaul how its reviews deals that could harm competition in the pharmaceutical industry. Rebecca Kelly Slaughter, the FTC's acting Democratic chairwoman, is showing the industry that there will be a tougher road ahead for these companies during the Biden administration. The Democrats have been pushing a strong antitrust enforcement across the economy. However, the industry's largest trade group, the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, have been defending their actions or the industry's actions for mergers. They said, quote, help facilitate the transfer of knowledge and expertise required to push the envelope of scientific discovery. Noah Phillips, the FTC commissioner, a Republican, said he's a Republican. Said he welcomed the effort to assess competitive concerns that pharmaceutical mergers raise, but carefully will watch for mergers that will harm competitions. Democrats and Republicans alike at the FTC have been aligned on several issues relating the pharmaceutical competition. In one major effort, the commissions has for years waged a campaign against patent settlements that can delay the introduction of generic drugs that provide a cheaper alternative to their brand name counterpart. So the question here is, do you think the company should be stopped from merging? Since everyone seems on board in trying to stop all these merging, do you think it should just be overall I guess stopped, right? The question being stopped from merging.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, next. No. Uh, I'd say that considering the fact that just like other businesses, you'd want to prevent monopolies to make sure that prices can't become outrageous. You should definitely stop the merging of these pharmaceutical companies. But it's sort of too late because prices are already outrageous. So it'll take like 2 cents in order to make a drug, and you'll sell it for like $100. It's ridiculous, and it makes medication super hard to afford, and people who can't afford health insurance are just double screwed. So
Yeah, aren't there like some medications that are like really necessary for people that are like
Well,
ill
even
and but they're like super high?
yeah, I was gonna say even like an EpiPen is incredibly expensive.
Wait,
and
I
it's
thought
not
they
because
got
of how much it takes to make. It's because there's only one person allowed to manufacture EpiPens, and they can charge as much as they want for it. Because if you don't have an EpiPen and you have an allergy, well, guess what? Now you get to die.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm looking at one
it's
of
a patent problem. It's the
the
fact that they
price
have
of
exclusive
EpiPen
licensing.
alternatives. So the EpiPen itself has been rising, and then it kind of flattened out recently. And then the epinephrine generic EpiPen is gonna be the yellow. So it's always been that way. Okay. And the epinephrine generic Adrenaclick has dropped. So I have no idea what generic EpiPen is and why they're separated,
I
but
mean, it's
I'll like
probably just not branded.
Mm-hmm.
uh-huh.
There's the
Yeah, because
I'm
the
assuming
normal
it's like there's the patented original EpiPen that's
Mhm.
sold for a lot more than like essentially the same thing but made by someone else that's just sold at a more affordable price.
Yeah.
Um, Easier to get your hands on, I guess.
Yeah, because the epinephrine actually seems like it was going up for a little bit and then it drops down. So it was actually from 300, I think that means $300. It goes up and almost up to 500 and then it
Mm.
drops down to in between 200 and 300. It kind of
Yeah,
just
it's like an EpiPen is not worth $500. Not to mention they expire, so when you buy it, you don't even get to have it just for
yeah.
as long as you need.
Yeah.
You have to buy and spend
Yeah,
another
because
$500 later when it expires. So
Yeah, but you have to understand that's also the generic Adrenaclick. The EpiPen, the actual, I'm assuming this is the one that's like branded. It's teetering off into the $700 region, which is insane. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is for one pen, right? Like that's
Yeah.
like you're throwing away $700 if you don't even use it. Like people aren't gonna just be like, I have an EpiPen, so I'm just gonna like eat or do whatever that can be allergic to me just so I can use that $700, right? So you're just wasting $700 in general.
Exactly.
Insane. Yeah, I'm like looking at all these graphs, and they just all are like steadily growing. Insane.
And that is essentially what would end up happening the more mergers you get, because it gives like a single company more access to like a single patent, and they would have exclusive licensing to use it.
Yeah, that's why that's why the article was talking about how like they need to be careful with these like patent stuff and like all these like mergers and stuff. So when I said the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America was like kind of explaining the reason why they were merging, right, was because like they wanted to transfer knowledge. So I wanted to ask you guys like if this might be like if at least he's telling part of the truth, right? Like at least a half truth. Like, do you think there's some truth in his statement?
You shouldn't need to be the same company in order to put basic medical like health knowledge out in the public for other people to use if it's about, doing what they're supposed to do, which is helping cure people and making medicine for people.
But
then,
these people are like businesses. They don't always share.
Well, yeah, but like you can make it a law that you for you to be able to only manufacture and sell products if you're licensed to do so. And you don't need to merge into one company in order for information to be available, but only available to certain people.
Yeah, even if one company has the exclusive, they have the patent, they could license it to another company, and that would be exchanging that information, knowledge, expertise, whatever that guy said.
I mean, assuming let's say the like a company found out a new like cure for or like a medication, right? And then like other companies are like asking, hey, can we use this? And they decided to patent it. Then it means that the other companies aren't able to use it unless they're paying. I'm pretty sure they have to pay a fee, right? If they ever use like
licensing
a patent
fee, exactly.
Yeah, licensing fee. Yeah, so I think this product is like the fact that this guy is saying, or like the pharmaceutical, this largest like distributor is saying, like I think part of it is true. Like let's say that company wanted like to help and like distribute this new drug, but another company already has it and is patented. Isn't there like the only way to actually get that knowledge or use it would be to buy that company?
No, you don't need to make a monopoly in order to distribute a medication. That's stupid. Not to mention they're already monopolies, but like there's no way that you wouldn't that the only way to distribute a drug and make it accessible to the public is by combining two businesses together. That just doesn't make sense.
Again, you could license it out to another company.
If you really wanted to actually, distribute the medication and make it available to the people that need it, they would just, first of all, the company that wants to sell it would just pay the licensing fee, right? And then the company that makes it and wants to use it or make it accessible would, put it at a reasonable price for how much it costs to produce, and actually,
but that's
sell
assuming
it to the other company and make it possible. Like,
yeah, but that's also assuming that their main goal is not to make money, but to like help people.
It's a dumb excuse for you to be like, the only way for us to actually make this drug available is to expand our business.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying what he's saying is fully true. I was asking if it at least is partly true.
Well, I say
I give him the benefit of. I give him the benefit
say
it's
of not true enough to make it nearly worth it to allow these mergers. It's
to my opinion, I mean, I'm not. I don't know how the medical industry goes and how it works. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But yes, of course, companies are gonna be selfish and try to buy out literally all their competition and abuse their power over the customer. So yeah, I think what the FTC is doing is definitely the right thing to do. Kind of being skeptical in their own views and like making sure that these companies aren't doing the wrong thing or trying to do any monopolistic actions or taking any
You have to realize what is the difference between being one company, uh, being the original company with the only license to actually sell that product, or combining with a second company and still being the only people with the license to sell that product. Well, the only change from the first one to the second one is essentially you've just added a bunch more locations where you can sell that product. But you can, you can make the drug available. You can make the drug more available, give it to more retail stores or something along those lines without buying up an entire other business. Not to mention the fact that once those two businesses merge, right, there is less competition for all the medication, right? So before you'd be like, oh yeah, now there's more locations where I can buy this drug that the people with this certain disease actually need. But then everyone who needed all the other drugs sold by the two stores separately now have to pay more because they're the only ones, or there are fewer people selling all the other generic drugs and all the other things that people need, and everyone's prices go up for everything.
You know what would be easy way to fix this?
Prevent the mergers. Well, to fix it, you'd have to maybe break people up. Like break up CVS
That's what
Pharmacy.
I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
If you like break up CVS Pharmacy, which has like a monopoly on the industry, like CVS is huge and they push tons of other smaller pharmacies out.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why. And Walgreens. Walgreens does that.
You might be able to lower the cost of normal medication, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Definitely prevent mergers because that's only going to make the problem worse.
I don't think they need to focus so much on the mergers. More, I feel like I'm looking at how big the pharmaceutical research and manufacturers of America is, and they're huge. They're like really big.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should be focusing on kind of figuring out how to break these companies up.
Well, I mean, they work for the companies, so they're not going to want to break up their beneficiaries,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, if you want to look at like an actual monopoly issue that's going on right now, Walmart, not in this area, but specifically in Canada, believe it or not, like a lot of companies have tried, like the big box store in Canada, and they've all been killed by Walmart. Target tried; they were like, I forget, like Target was in Canada for like a year, and it was just killed. It never had a chance. It's crazy when a company gets too big to fail like that.
Yeah, and apparently there are towns that are like run by Walmart essentially. Like the entire working population there, or the majority of the people who work in that town are just working at that Walmart, and it like the entire place is built around that Walmart. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the mega Walmarts, the huge ones.
Superstore.
Yeah, those are insane.
But here's the thing: they're also they treat their employees relatively well at the moment, at least.
From what I understand,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like they
haven't complained.
They run a lot of places, but at least they run it well. And of course, that could easily change. But for now, they're not really destroying people's livelihoods and making themselves, this big abusive power. So I'd say they can stay for now because they're really helping people in the job market, and making things available to even disabled workers. But as soon as they turn, I mean, I don't want to say turn evil, but as soon as they start abusing their power and making things harder for their workers, I say that's when
Like
you got to look to
Amazon,
break
yeah.
them up. Yeah.
Amazon's not.
Wait, hold up. I want to figure out if my mic is working.
Recently, an independent research firm ran a taste test between Coke and Pepsi. And the taste more people chose was the taste of Coca-Cola. Yes, more people all across the country, when comparing Coke to Pepsi, chose the taste of Coke as the better taste. Let's look at it this way. We gave America a choice, and more people said Coke is it.
It's a hit. It's a Coke. Coke is it.
And we're back. So what were we talking about again?
We were talking about how like smaller firms are actually can seem like an unreliable source rather than like a bigger firm, since the bigger firm is more established and I'm assuming has more achievements or innovations under its belt compared to other smaller firms that probably just started out. So yeah, that's what I was like trying to be like a devil's advocate, trying to explain why governments would be kind of hesitant to fund smaller firms and stuff like that.
Yeah. No,
If we don't have anything else to say, we can move on.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Article 2 is a huge topic.
Okie dokie. I'd say we move on.
Okay. Article 2, for Asian Americans, Atlanta spa shooting heightened worries. The shooting of the 8 women of Asian descent resonated with millions of people. They saw a parallel between the shooting of the 8 women of Asian descent and George Floyd's death. In response, President Biden ordered flags at federal buildings to be flown at half-mast in honor of the victims. Robert Aaron Long, the 21-year-old suspect, told the authorities that he targeted the spas because the spas were providing, quote, an outlet for his addiction to sex. Several thousand people signed online petitions calling for the firing of Cherokee Sheriff's Office Captain Jay Baker for saying that Mr. Long was having a, quote, bad day and was at the end of his rope with his sex addiction when he acted. The Georgia State Representative B. Nguyen, I think, in Atlanta, Democrat retorts by saying it wasn't a bad day. After the shooting in Atlanta, New York, Seattle, and Atlanta said they will be closely monitoring the Asian American communities as a precaution. The New York Police, the NYPD, last fall formed an Asian hate crime task force, its first ever task force dedicated to investigating crimes targeting a single race. Deputy Inspector Stuart Liu said it can be very difficult to prove a violent assault or attack was a hate crime because prosecutors must prove the motive. Motive. The Federal Bureau, the FBI, is still assisting local law enforcement if in course of the local investigation information comes to light of a potential federal violation. The FBI is prepared to investigate. There's more stuff that I wrote for summary, but in short, the Atlanta police haven't released the names of the other 4 victims in the city's 2 spa shootings because they haven't been able to reach the next of kin. Deputy Chief Hampton said, the police were working with Korean diplomatic officials to do so, as several of the women were Korean descent, he said. So the question here is, what is your opinion on this overall matter of the fact that this guy just decided to shoot up this spa because of this excuse that I have a sex addiction and the spa gave me that opportunity to flourish that addiction.
Well, I think we should read the names of the victims in respect, and
Okay, I'll read them out. Okay, so the victims at the first spa targeted were Delana Ashley Young, who is 33 years of age, Paul Andre Michels, 54, Xiao Ji Yan, 49, and Dao Yu Feng, 44, Alicius R. Hernandez Ortiz, 30, were injured. But I'm not sure if I pronounced that right or if those were the only victims. Let me look it up just in case. You guys can start answering the.
Yeah, so the first question was pretty
The
general. It was
answer.
just, what were our opinions on the matter. I'll let Noah start with this one.
Well, I think that it's another tragedy, but it's not the first time that we're seeing Asian Americans being discriminated against uh, since the whole lockdown and really since reports of coronavirus started.
Mhm.
Like these, the shootings may be happening now, but smaller acts and maybe even larger ones that we just haven't heard much about amidst the other stuff that's been going on have been occurring since the pandemic really started. It's just now it's really coming to light, and it's getting a lot worse. I don't know. I think it's just terrible what would do to each other just because of color of their skin or the place where they were born or their parents were born. Like doesn't there's no rationale to it. Like
Yeah.
I
Okay, so
think.
I got other names. Forgive me if I am missing any people, cause there seems to be like other people that were injured and everything. So these are the people I found on USA Today. So Sun Si Park, Hyunjung Grant, Suncha Kim, and Yonga Yu were apparently victims of the two spa attacks. Obviously, I'm pretty sure there was more. The apparent it says here other victims. Little has been revealed about Taiyu Feng, and Sun Si. Okay, so they're just people that we're talking. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah. I feel terrible about this. So you guys can keep going with your conversation. Finish your own thoughts.
Yeah, no, you can finish up.
Well, I think that this is definitely a hate crime. There should be no question about that. Um, Given everything that's been going on, the dumb reason for the shooting, like
Oh yeah, that
either
was
the guy is, well, he is insane, but either he's clinically insane or, more likely, much much more likely, it's just a hate crime and he should be definitely locked up for this no matter what, locked
Mm-hmm.
up for life.
yeah.
And these kinds of acts just can't be uh, you can't forget them. You can't just they shouldn't just be added to a list of random shootings that happen. Like this is an attack on Asian Americans, and
Yeah, there was issues with that, right? Like a lot of people were talking about how it was hate crime, and then to stop further hate crime, it's hard to find the actual motive of the person who did it. Obviously, this is one of those scenarios where it's blatantly obvious that he was targeting these spas that were that had a majority of Asian people there.
Yeah.
Because it's not just women. I'm pretty sure like a guy also got like an Asian dude got shot as well.
mhm.
So I think it's just overall like personally think it's definitely a hate crime for what they did. The fact that he said that he was at the edge and like it was an outlet for his like sex addiction, like that's such a feeble excuse, and I'm
It's
just
No
like
like,
excuse.
it's a bizarre choice to make an excuse of.
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
don't. Yeah, I
This is
mean,
murder. This is murder we're talking about, and you can't
exactly.
like that is no excuse for any violent act, especially not one as ridiculous and grievous as this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Going on the fact that this is murder and you can't really excuse anything. Apparently, people found that Captain Jay Baker, the guy who said that the suspect just had a bad day, had been promoting racist shirts blaming China for the pandemic. Tyler, I actually sent the picture, right, into our group chat. So if you can show that to the audience later through
I
editing,
will.
that would
Yeah,
be
I will
great.
throw that up on screen right now.
Yeah. So my question was, should Jay Baker be fired for his actions? Because a ton of people on social media are demanding him to be, to be fired. And yeah, I wanted
I
to hear
mean, he's
your
defending a domestic terrorist.
Mhm.
That's what Long is. And the fact that even the FBI is like, oh, it's hard to tell whether or not this was a hate crime. Like it's all BS. You guys are it. There's no reason to defend this person, no matter what the reason behind it is, no matter whether it was a hate crime or not. He still uh murdered how many people? Like
8 people.
8 people, right? And to say any words to defend him, and lay down any kind of rationale for why he would do something that isn't, the guy is insane and deserves to be punished, is honestly stupid and borderline corrupt. You can't defend a domestic terrorist. You can't, uh, you know, agree with the guy that shot 8 people that, oh, I'm sorry, it was a bad day. Like, no, that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
I did do further research on this Jay Baker guy. Also, Abi, our researcher or my assistant, helped me actually find out that Baker has actually been removed from speaking or being part of the case. Due to all this social backlash on him,
That's
and I.
just to protect him. That's to protect his job, and we're keeping a racist,
Mhm.
dangerous officer
Yeah.
in that position
I'm
of
hoping.
power.
I'm hoping
He
he does get
needs.
fired. That is, I mean, he
If
definitely
he's not part of
should
the
be fired.
trials, how is he going to be, punished for this and fired? He should be. Uh, he should definitely be removed from his position.
Yeah, it's
So,
a whole crazy situation.
mhm.
Yeah. Tyler, do you have any opinions on
Not really more than I already.
Okay.
I mean, you guys kind of took the words out of my mouth. I pretty much agree with everything you said, whether it be about Captain Baker or the victims, or the guy himself. You know, it, the thing is with a lot of people, whether he was legitimately, if he could have been like diagnosed as insane or not. Um, if it had been like, let's say it was actually diagnosed earlier, like before he were to do this,
Yeah.
um, I think it could. I, I I think it comes down to people um, rejecting help. Like, let's say this guy was like legitimately insane, right? Let's say he
Yeah.
has some actual mental illness.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like, well, obviously he owned a firearm or he stole a firearm. We don't know, right?
Mhm.
We don't know. Do we know if he was a registered gun owner or
I can look that up if you guys want me to. I'll
because
look it up
that
right now.
comes down
Because
to
I don't feel like if he was like clinically insane or like if
he wouldn't, right? Yeah, he
he
wouldn't be
wouldn't
able
be
to own
able
a
to have
firearm.
the gun.
No, I'm sure that if he was in illegal possession of a firearm, that would have been something that that would have been obvious and would have come out in the articles, right?
Yeah.
And
You would assume.
the only reason that anyone would label that guy insane is if he was convinced by a lawyer to plead insanity in a courtroom, and it's just to avoid the punishment that he deserves.
Mhm.
Like, I have little doubt in my mind that he is actually clinically insane, and that this wasn't just a hate crime that should be, harshly dealt with.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, the thing is, even if he did plead insanity, he would probably get a less charge, but he'd still go to prison, and that's just
Mhm.
that becomes an issue with our mental health system.
Well, I'm
That's
like
another topic
looking
for another day.
for this
Mhm.
gun thing.
Yeah, I'm just
I
curious.
am not. I can't find it. I mean, it might be just me being terrible at searching things,
No,
but
it probably comes down to that he legally owned it. To be totally honest.
yeah. But I'm actually in Newsweek.com. I don't know if this place is a solid website, but I'm looking at like the comments.
Hmm.
There's this guy. His username is ENCXBG1, and his comment literally says, "Funny how there is no mention that this guy is basically a vigilante that shot up a bunch of illegal operated prostitution rings. There is a larger story here that the media chooses to ignore because evidently racism is more shocking."
That sounds fabricated.
Wait,
That
so
sounds like another racist person trying to defend this guy, but I think we should hear it out and confirm.
I mean, I'm not sure. They don't really explain if it is an illegal prostitution.
It's just a day spa. I highly doubt that
I mean,
it was
I mean,
a
what are these
um,
spas specifically? That's the question. Because actually, it's weird. Because I was reading the article, and they do say that like they were trying to call the spa, but like these two spas that were shot up didn't even respond back to like say anything.
I mean,
Weird.
even
So
it,
like, I
like
mean,
let's
yes, of course. Even if it
even
was an
if
illegal,
yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
you
matter.
wouldn't shoot up a place. Yeah, if you knew about it, you should be calling the authorities.
Sure. Yeah. No. That.
Yeah.
exactly. No one deserves to die for that, and it's also likely not the true story here.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, it would be weird because he does say that it was like an outlet for his like sex addiction, and I was like, it's a spa. What do you do sex there for? Right? Like that's weird. I don't know. That seems very peculiar. I mean, you know, if we did have a better research team, then we would have figured that out.
Well,
But
if the guy is calling him, if this other person is calling him a vigilante, for
well,
killing 8 people,
oh no,
that.
I'm not debating about that. I'm just
Oh
want to
no,
figure.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying it sounds like
yeah, he's a
it sounds
racist.
like another racist person who's
Yeah.
just trying to defend this guy because he also hates Asian Americans irrationally. I wouldn't put any weight on that
Well,
article.
yeah.
You
I
know.
don't put any weight on his opinion either.
Yeah.
I just
It's
want to
an
know if it
opinion.
was an illegal prostitution ring, because that seemed like that would be a really big like factor if that's what they're missing, right?
It wouldn't
Obviously,
be
we won't
relevant
know.
in the trial, though.
Of course, but it would be a good information to know.
I mean,
Saying.
I guess
But,
technically it could be part of the defense, but I don't really think that it would matter in the
yeah,
long run.
Yeah.
it wouldn't.
It's like
yeah.
it sounds like you're trying to dodge the real issue, which is
Mhm.
Asian Americans are being discriminated against, and now there's been a violent act against them.
Yeah.
That resulted in the deaths of 8 people. And this is, indicative of a growing problem. Whether this one, even if this one was actually not a hate crime, it's still
Not
it
okay
still
to kill
represents
people.
an actual problem that's not just occurring in this one isolated situation. So, it should regardless be a a sign that something needs to change, and these people need to, Asian Americans need to be protected and treated a lot better than they are right now. And the people who are, you know,
As an amazing,
discriminating, exactly, the people
yeah,
who are um, acting out against them and trying to abuse and intimidate them, like they need to be taken down as well.
yeah, yeah. As an Asian American, I would like to have protection, please. Uh, yeah. So the next question is actually about protection about the Asian Americans. So I wanted to. So the article actually pointed out that police are gonna be now more monitoring the Asian American communities more like closely. And personally, I felt like the whole idea of monitoring the Asian American community is like a short-term solution and not really a long-term solution, right? I feel like rather than focusing too much on the monitoring part, I feel like um as a whole of society, we should be trying to implement in these like slow like not slowly but kind of make society realize that Asian Americans are actually here to stay. They are not in the wrong, and kind of educate people on that rather than having like these police people just always protecting these people.
Yeah, also, if they're just monitoring them, like, I
Mhm.
don't know exactly what kind of tactical plan they have for this, but let's just say, they're going to be utilizing cameras or microphones or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, that's not going to stop something from happening. Like, police would still arrive on the scene after something were to happen. I highly doubt they'd have a guy watching or listening 24/7 so they could immediately send out someone, It's
Mhm.
I don't really think like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this solution is a bit problematic on its own. I feel like instead of doing that, I feel like I mean, this is not much what a police can do, honestly, because this is like I'm talking about like society itself trying to figure out like where, because like I think I said this in the last episode of our podcast, but it's like almost as if Asian Americans haven't been fully admitted to this country. Almost like I can hear I like people uh saying like, oh, get out of our country to Asian people isn't unheard of, right? Like that happens very often to some people. So I think it's more of like Asian Americans trying to like finally getting their place in society, and being admitted into being an American like fully. And I think that comes from like society finally accepting Asian Americans.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh, Noah, you have any other things to say, or you good here?
No, I think we've said it all.
All right. Article 3. So this is actually a pretty short one, but it's a police reform bill. So, the White House has recently released a bill for police reforms naming after George Floyd. It was made to address and honor the extreme measures officers took to subdue the man. It will ban neck holds as well as no knock warrants. Um, yeah, this was written by a B, so he did the minimal work here. He didn't do that great. So the question is, how much do you agree with reforming the police for the sake of systemic racism, or do you believe it is detrimental to the force to put in these restrictions? If you have a chance to reform, what would you suggest or not suggest to do? Actually, a B, you did do good. Never mind. This question's pretty good. So do you want to answer the first question, which is how much do you agree with this reform, the police for the sake of systematic racism, or do you believe it is detrimental to the force to put in these restrictions?
Tyler, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I'll take a swing. So here's my issue with this. I like the fact that they're taking initiative. but I don't think that this is going to solve the problem at all. Because the issue is not the practice, it's the people who are practicing in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially a no-knock warrant. Like, let's say it's a really dangerous guy, and like the police know he's in there. They know that they have to get him out, and the guy's not opening the door. What, are they just gonna leave? I don't what like
Yeah, that's actually what my mom said. I literally told her about this, and she's like, "Wait, then what happens if they don't open the door?"
yeah, no, it's like it's like oh, well, police let us in. And he's like, no, I don't think I am. He's like, okay, guys, I guess we're going home. Like, I don't get
That'd be so funny.
Like,
it's like, God damn it, I know you're doing something bad in there.
But
like,
I can't go in.
No, you can't come in, no.
Yeah, like, so I think that taking initiative is definitely the right direction, but I think they're taking the wrong initiative, if that makes any sense.
I think again, like you said, it's the people who are doing this, and like this is the person, like
if you're gonna reform anything, you got to reform the actual officers. And I'm not saying that the majority of police officers are bad. I'm not. But what I am saying is that
it's the small 3% that's the loudest. And
yeah, sure. It's a loud minority of people, and that loud minority should just be completely silenced and obviously taken off the force. Yeah. And it's as simple as that, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And obviously,
but again, it's also like a constant though. Like, there's always going to be that 1%.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, if they want to prevent people like that being part of the police in the future, then you're just gonna have to reform, your applications for the academy, whether that be like, adding certain questions that could try to filter out, or maybe it could be up to, the teachers in the academy just kind of, like mentally testing them. I don't really know. I don't have answers for that, but I don't think that.
Like, I mean, it's almost like it's also because I think it's also like just you remember that study with like I think it was like with I forget which goddamn it was like an Ivy League, right? And they did like the prison guard and the prisoners kind of experiment, and like they were just all students, but the prison guards became like abusive because like they were like getting used to this like role of being an authority.
Yeah.
I think even good people can be swayed and like have a power trip, right? Like be kind of weird.
Like that. And in that case, you just be punished or fired.
Oh damn, guys, good news.
Good news.
What's the good news?
I got into Syracuse, guys.
Hey, congrats.
Good news.
That is pretty cool.
Syracuse is a cool city.
Yeah, but that's epic. Anyways, back to the topic. I think that's also an issue where it's like authorities are like a bit perverted in the sense like their power gets to their heads and they kind of like start to do like, yeah, I'm the one in control almost, right? But I think that's also just part of human nature where you like it's hard to be a good cop, and like obviously a lot of people are good cops, or like a lot of the but it's like that 1% that like that accepts or like gets it too much into their head, right?
It's the
I think part of the issue may come from the amount of training you need to become a cop, because you only need 2 years of college and schooling in order to actually become a police officer.
Yeah.
And for most other professions, 4 years might not even cut it,
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that there's so little time to be trained.
Well, you have to do the academy after, but yeah.
You do, but,
No, I get what you're saying.
The academy does not make up for,
of course.
It's still not enough time.
Mm-hmm. Also, they need to put, like, preemptive measures for like these things. Like obviously I'm assuming that police academy or like overall like for like these trainings, like they do remind these cadets or like the police officers like be careful with what you do, and like like reminding them over and over again like your actions do matter.
Yeah, and the police
Yeah.
academy only lasts for 17 weeks.
Yeah, no,
Or
it's
at
not
least that's in
long.
New York. It only lasts for 17
That's
weeks.
actually pretty
And in
short.
that time, you're supposed to be set up with, you know, the right set of skills and morals to be able to handle uh, like crazy situations where you have to decide whether or not to take a person's life. Like that's just not enough time to make sure that these are going to be responsible people, to make sure that they would be able to handle things correctly. Like even people who have been on the force for a couple of years, I'm sure, would still struggle in those situations to make the right call. And it's like we can't. If these are the standards, then it's no wonder that we've got a police brutality issue, and that we're not. On top of that, the police officers who are getting away with, or the police officers who are abusing those that they stop, are getting away with it. You know,
Yeah.
like we've got a ridiculous amount of, we have a ridiculously high colored population in our jails, especially compared to what percentage of the total population
Yeah,
colored people
Noah
make up.
has written an essay on this as well,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
we
actually,
will know. Yeah.
And it it's like 3 times the amount of black people in jails that you would expect to see based on the percentage of the population of the country that
also
they make up. Like
yeah.
black males alone make up like a third of the prison population, and only like it was, I believe, around 16% or 10% of the actual US population, somewhere around there, where it's much, much lower. And those numbers, like, they just don't add up. And there's a
Yeah.
bunch of things contributing to those numbers.
I think
One
it's
of them
also
is being targeted by, um, a corrupt system and racist police officers, and it's just it.
yeah. I think it's also again it's not always I mean, the incarceration and the increasing rate of African Americans and minorities getting arrested is a big issue. But I think even bigger issue, in my own opinion, would be the fact that they're restricting their identities as like the race in whole, right? Like Noah actually read the essay that I wrote for my class. It was about how the fact that this our society has almost forced these identities upon like minorities, like African Americans are like extraordinarily masculine, right? And like they're seen as criminals or like dangerous.
it's
And
yeah,
like
social construct.
exactly, like this gang like almost being like a gang member is like part of like this identity that these African Americans are apparently put up with, right? And like Asian people are supposed to expected to be smart in math and and because of that these minorities are accepting these identities. And
Yes,
I
and then
think
they
I
end up
think that
doing it.
yeah, exactly. And it's like police are actually part of that problem as well. So that um I think these problems with society itself it's hard definitely to fix, like cuz it's too big.
It,
But I think slowly but surely we can fix it together.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely, cuz I mean there's no problem you can't fix with a ton of people.
it's actually really funny that we're talking about this. I believe it or not, I actually have a sociology professor in my family, and we talk about this stuff a lot because it's literally her work. So
Mhm.
she actually, besides teaching at a college, she also teaches at a prison for a prison program, and it's a
Yeah.
maximum security prison. And pretty much, and it's actually really interesting because like a lot of people who do some, like let's say someone, they murdered somebody, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they get sent to a maximum security prison, and they're sentenced for life, 30 years or whatever. Um, After 30 years of being in prison,
Mm-hmm.
you're a different person than you were.
Yeah.
Very different, actually.
But I think that's also like an issue with like people themselves not believing that other people can change, right? Like
Yeah.
people, yeah, that's like a big issue with people. Because even my mom, are like, because like like those the cancel culture, like will bring up like things that happened 10 years ago, and
Yeah.
bring it
Yeah.
up and be like, you did this,
Exactly.
and like even my mom was like, yeah, people don't change, and I'm like, have I believe people can definitely change. Like there's no way a person cannot change like throughout their own experiences.
And a
Um
lot of times, you know,
hmm,
like there's one guy, I don't even know his name, so I'm not gonna. But like he's in this prison for life, and it was down to him having a mental breakdown when he was 14, right? Um, at that point, he shouldn't even be put in prison. He should actually be put in a mental hospital, in my opinion.
yeah.
And that becomes a problem with the prison system. And there's actually a lot of mentally disabled people who are put in prison because there's nowhere else for them to be put.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. It's yeah, it's hard to, differentiate people from going from whether or not they should be going to like in a mental hospital, or if they should be sent to like a maximum security prison, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, because that's a very I mean, justice itself through law, and like, justice can be seen by different people in, many different ways.
yeah, that's
Uh
true.
yeah, so it's very hard to kind of find the quote unquote fair justice. I also want to tell you guys that Noah has to actually go soon. So
Oh,
he'll
okay.
be leaving after this article, or this section, right? So before, Noah has to go, Noah, do you have anything else you want to say?
Hmm. I'd say, um, as you said, it's hard to tell how harshly we should punish people. Um, I think we definitely need to um, update our officer training system. I think we need to um, change the way we go about making arrests. But going back to that no knock warrants, I'm not sure how effective that would be.
Yeah,
As you said, like where like that seems like it would be a pretty big hindrance to an
To the
officer's ability
police.
to
Yeah.
actually conduct an investigation. Even
yeah.
if you have a warrant for their arrest, you can't actually like get in their home. Does that mean you have to track them and wait for them to leave their house so that you can
Yeah,
make
I
the
think there's like
arrest?
a whole thing to figure that out, and I think itself, like, it's a good intention that just
But
doesn't work, right?
it's a flawed
Mhm.
execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
In terms of
they should just intensify the training for policemen.
yeah, exactly, and make sure that uh, things like the neck holds that they want to ban, and
I
I'm
think
sure
neck
there
holds
are
are
other.
fair,
I'm sure
to
there
be
are other
honest.
dangerous holds that have been put into practice that uh, that could hurt a person that you're just trying to take down peacefully, and um, possibly kill someone, like the neck hold. Like all of those have to be examined and taken out of use, and there should be a clear punishment for
Mhm.
violating that. Like if you uh, administer one of those neck holds and then you take an innocent person's life, or even a guilty person's life, before they're able to go to court and defend themselves, you should be fired no matter what. And then on top of that, put into jail. Like you've still killed someone. And at that point, if you're at a point where you're subduing them, they are not a threat to you. you should definitely be locked away for that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, of course, an officer has a right to defend himself, just as you or I would. But like,
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's hard. It's hard to kind of to monitor a police officer in saying, like, because if a police officer said, "Yeah, I felt threatened, therefore I had this guy in a chokehold," right?
well, you can easily go to the police cams. You know, they have to
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
body.
but
All
Yeah,
like,
body
police
cam.
officers are required to have a body
yeah,
cam
body cam
at
is
all
yeah.
times, and then you can make the call. But like, when you have a situation where someone is already on the ground and an officer is on top of them, like with George Floyd, there is
Yeah,
no
that
chance
there's
of
no
them being a
question. There's
threat,
no
and they
no
should
debate over that.
uh, definitely be arrested.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Noah, thank you for being one of our guests
Yes,
for our
thank you.
Thanks
second
for having
episode.
me. Thank you.
Do you want to say anything before you leave, other than politics?
No.
Alright.
Sorry.
Now get out.
All right.
I never liked you in the beginning, anyways.
Oh,
No, I'm
great.
joking.
I'll
I'm
just
joking.
be leaving then.
All right, see you, Noah. I'll
See
see
ya.
you in my
Alright.
server.
Thank you for having me on.
It was great having you.
All right. Now, there was actually a second question that Abi actually written for us.
Which we kind
it
of
is
answered, to be honest.
I guess if you had a chance to reform, yeah,
We
we did.
did. We
Okay,
talked about
that's fair.
Academy. I'd say
That
it's
is
time to
fair.
move on out of the.
Yeah, let's go to video game.
Oh, do I have
Tyler?
some funny video games to talk about today?
Oh hell yeah.
So it was recently announced the top nominees for the Museum of Play's World Video Game Hall of Fame, and I think that some of these are very interesting. Obviously, like a game like Minecraft or Super Mario Brothers, that's already in there. So I guess they're
Mhm.
getting they're getting into some of the weirder titles.
Okay, so like the more niche games.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna list them off. I know you have them in front of you. So we
Yeah.
got the original Animal Crossing for the GameCube or N64, depending on the region. The original COD, the original Farmville, the original FIFA, the original Guitar Hero, Mattel Football. And if you don't know what Mattel Football is, it's actually a handheld game. It's barely a video game. If you look it up, it's from like the late '70s. It's basically a I'll put up a picture of it because I highly doubt anyone's actually.
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
know what
looking
this
it
is.
up myself.
It's literally like
What
this.
the hell?
Yeah, it's basically this little handheld console.
It doesn't even look like soccer, bro. It's just like this demented calculator.
Yeah, so basically everything are just little LEDs.
Mhm.
It's not like a screen. It's just LEDs that move when you press the buttons. At the time, it was that was handheld video games. This is the late '70s, so
Mhm. That's it.
yeah. And then anyway, moving on. The original Microsoft Flight Simulator, Pole Position, which is an arcade game I don't know anything about, to be totally honest. The original Portal, StarCraft, the original Tron, and a game I've never heard of called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Let's skip. What I don't even know what that is. Okay, so there are some that I actually do believe belong there. For example, the Animal Crossing. I do feel like it had a huge impact on just overall gaming. Right, it was
Yeah.
like the first to do kind of like this lifey, cozy little thing. COD I have actually never played, so I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming it did do it. Made it revolutionized like first person shooters.
Yeah, I mean it did. I just want to like quickly. I mean, it did spawn
No,
the
no,
COD
go ahead.
franchise, which
Mhm.
is probably one of the most influential, for better or for worse, one of the most influential franchises in video game history.
Yeah. FIFA, I do believe actually did. I mean, it is the most famous, football game in the world, right?
Soccer, football, yes.
Football is the same thing. Come on now. Guitar Hero. I don't like Guitar Hero, to be 100% honest.
No,
with you.
it was kind of a fad. I mean, if you're
I
gonna
don't like it.
maybe Dance
I don't
Evolution
know.
was gonna say if any of the
Okay,
rhythm
Dance
games,
Dance Revolution is kind of funny.
well, I
like
was
that
gonna
one.
say that might already be in there. Honestly, like I'm trying to
Mhm.
think. Right?
I mean, I'm assuming it is because it had such a huge influence over like just like overall motion games, right?
Yeah.
Um, I also think StarCraft has been like a huge fad like a long time ago as well.
hmm
It kind of reminds me of like because it was like kind of like the older version of League in the way that it was so marketable for competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember like Korea having like giant tournaments for StarCraft before what's it called for League before League. So yeah, I know how big StarCraft used to be. So that I definitely see it being there. Mattel football, I mean, you said it. It looks terrible. I don't know. Put
It
that
was
in.
very important when it was like one of the first. To be fair, in its
But
defense, this was the late '70s, and it was one of the first quote unquote portable video games. I don't know if any because they made a bunch of these. So I don't know if like maybe Mattel Soccer or Mattel Baseball are in there. If any
yeah.
of those are in there, I honestly think if they were gonna do this, they
Dude,
should
it
just
really doesn't even look like a. It looks like a kid calculator or a bomb, like
yeah,
a bomb.
it
Like
vaguely it's barely a video game, but I think if they were gonna do that, they should
what?
just
Like
have them.
why?
They should just have them all like just call it the Mattel Sports Games. Like don't
Yeah, no, it looks terrible. I'm sorry. It
anyway.
really does. Like even the
I
Game Boy. I don't know if
to be
Game Boy
fair,
came later, right?
Game Boy came over 10 years later.
Yeah, yeah, but it still looks so much better.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I mean because it's
It's
an
so
actual
much.
screen. This is not
Yeah.
this is not a screen. It's literally like a piece of glass or plastic and just LEDs that light up or turn off. That's the extent
So
of it as a game.
this is so dumb. It
But
looks terrible.
the late
The only
70s, you
thing,
gotta
the only way
remember
it
the
looks
time.
better, the only way you can say it looks good is in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's because they modified it to do something that's other than a fucking game.
Uh, I guess so.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have noticed. I just looked up Mattel football,
Yeah.
and it comes out in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as one of like his regulators in the first scene. But
Okay, that's
it doesn't
actually kind
matter.
of funny.
Yeah, I mean it's a reference to older stuff.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean,
know.
if it does have an
Walkman.
influence on like handheld consoles and stuff,
It
I mean,
does. I
yeah,
think.
then I'll let it slide. But it looks terrible.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
got to start somewhere.
Braun, I don't know. I watched the movies more than I've actually played the game. So isn't Tron just like? Let me look this up
I
because
don't
I
know.
think I
It's
actually
pretty
did play the
influential
game.
from what I understand.
No, yeah, it is. It is. Didn't Atari make this?
Probably. I think it
I
was an
think
arcade
Atari
game.
made
I
this.
think it was an arcade
Yeah,
game
yeah, yeah.
originally.
I think Atari made it though. Let me double check so I'm not an idiot.
What I
On
do know a little bit about OG Microsoft Flight Sim. Yeah, I'd say so. I know there's a lot of people who like flight simulators, and that was pretty much the first one, especially on PC. And that did give us Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So I'd say it was. I guess it's worth it. I
never
don't know
mind, it was not made by Atari. What?
what was it
Okay.
made by.
It says the developers were Midway Games,
Oh,
but
Midway.
it was
Okay.
it also says the game consists of 4 sub games inspired by the events of the Walt Disney Productions motion. Oh, okay, no, that's just a movie. Never mind. Yeah, Midway Games made it apparently. Why
Midway
did I think it was
Arcade.
Atari?
They've made good games. They made I think they made Mortal Kombat if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm thinking right.
That's cool. Midway.
Yeah, I'm
Midway
gonna have to look
Games.
into that.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Mortal
it right now.
Kombat, Rampage, Spy Hunter,
Yeah,
NBA
Ultimate
Jam.
Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 2, Pac-Man. No way.
No, that's
Pac-Man, my
Namco.
favorite.
That's Namco.
Why is it coming up? What the hell?
I think that just
I
says
have been
video
lied to.
games. I know what
No,
you're
no,
looking
it
at.
says no. It says like it has like a ton. Wait, why though? Because that's weird.
Developed and
yeah,
released by Namco.
Yeah, I know it's made on Namco, but why is it underneath this then?
It was published by Midway.
Oh, okay. Then
But I mean, I Midway did for a while. They were a big player, especially in the arcade scene.
Pac-Man's
So
my favorite game. and Tetris, bro. Those two are like one of my like when it comes to like older games. Yeah, those are my two favorite.
I'm a Galaga guy. I love Galaga or Centipede.
I haven't played Galaga. I
You
should
really
play that
should.
game.
It's literally just like a top-down like shooter. It's
Isn't
not
it
like
just like isn't it like Invaders?
it's just a shoot 'em up. No, it's not Space Invaders. It's much better than Space Invaders.
I mean, it looks amazing. Oh wait, no, I played this on a handheld version, like on my phone. Like
Yeah.
there were like stuff like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
This was
shoot 'em
fun. I
up.
like this game. Yeah. Game was. I was so addicted to this game when I was younger.
It's hard not to be. I also think
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the original Missile Command. That was an Atari game.
Mhm.
I like a lot of Atari games actually. I have
Yeah, I think Atari made like really good games. I think they're gone now, but like
they're actually not. They recently released a new console.
I mean that's not gonna
No, they
work
did.
out.
No, it happened.
No, I know it happened, but I don't think it's gonna do well. A handheld
No.
console, you're saying?
No. No.
Just a console.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm looking that up right now.
it doesn't have like any new games. They give you like all the old Atari games, and then you can just download like stuff from their shop.
Are you
which is-
talking about the Atari VCS 800 Onyx all-in system bundle?
I believe so. Yeah. I think it's called the VCS.
I mean, it looks like the older version, but just sleeker and newer.
yeah, that's exactly what they're going for.
Why?
I don't
But
know.
why?
I don't know. Atari
I mean,
has been.
I don't know
bought-
why Atari's still alive, dude. It
They've
should
been
be dead
well.
by
No,
now.
it's not. It's not the same company that made, Centipede or Missile Command back in the 70s and 80s. The name has just transferred through so many hands over the years. It's not the same company. It just says Atari.
Okay, so what makes it different from each other?
What do you mean?
Like what's so like you said that it's different, right? Like Atari, like
It's
They
not the
moved-
same
moved-
company. They just bought the rights to the name Atari.
oh, okay, I get what you mean. Okay.
Like the original Atari that made
Mhm.
asteroids.
Yeah.
That I don't know exactly when. It was sometime in the 90s after they made like the Atari Jaguar, and that did terribly. And then
Mhm.
I think they got bought out, and that company changed its. No, I swear to God, Atari has changed ownership through so many companies. It's crazy.
Same, bro.
But
That's actually crazy.
it is. I mean, it is a very recognizable brand name.
Yeah, Atari is like famous. Like Atari. Whenever I think of like old games or like like older games, like Atari is the first thing that comes up to mind.
Yeah. Actually, let's cut the commercial break real quick, just so we can play an Atari commercial.
Hell yeah.
Did you try breakout with a Ming wall? Did you try breakout with an extra ball? It's what fun's all about. It's Super Breakout. It's a brand new game from Atari. Have you played Atari today?
If you liked Breakout, you'll love Super Breakout. It's got more color, more sound, and more action. And naturally, it's from Atari.
Have you played Atari today?
And
All right.
we're back. I hope you enjoyed that Atari commercial.
Yes, that Atari commercial was very tasty. All right. Well, you had questions for me.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about one more of those games. Portal definitely deserves to be in there.
Yeah, that it does. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was a revolutionizing game or revolutionary game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically. There's nothing to say about Portal.
Yeah, it's just a good game.
Yeah, and we kind of went over. One of my questions was basically, what games do you believe deserve to be inducted? Which we basically already went over.
Yeah.
Which one of these games do you think had the greatest impact in video game culture?
game culture.
Yes.
I have to say COD actually because now like it's weird because like to be honest for me personally first person shooters was never like my favorite game, But for a lot of like for the general public, the FPS games have been like that's what it's called, right? For
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
It's like they're like really big, right? Like PUBG, like COD still being a thing.
Yep.
Fortnite. I mean, I don't think Fortnite. I mean, you can play
It's
Fortnite
not a
in
first person. It's not.
Oh, okay, yeah, but you know what I mean. But like action wise, like you can. COD has such a big impact, and it's still being bought by so many people.
Yep.
I
year
think
after year.
it's really hard to ignore its like influence. Obviously, StarCraft had a big influence. Tron, Animal Crossing, but COD is still like this big name that you can't really ignore.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be honest, that's my opinion. Unfortunately, I don't really like COD, but
I know I probably agree. Honestly, it is bought year after year. They make new ones year after year. They're always some of the best selling games year after year. Even if they aren't good, you know,
yeah.
It also that was a huge deal that like revived the World War II shooting games.
Yeah,
Like,
it had like a huge, heavy like historical thing, which I appreciate a lot.
yeah, I think the first 3 COD games were World War II, and then they did Modern Warfare. But
Then they did like one for like the older ones, right? Like the Civil Wars and stuff.
no,
Like
that Battlefield was the one that did like World War One, which was
okay.
awesome, by the way.
I don't actually know every single COD game.
I don't
There's
either.
like COD. Yeah,
There's
I'm gonna
so
look at
many
it
of
because
them.
I'm just curious. Yeah, there's insane. Like there's Black Ops Cold War that's coming out.
That came out.
Oh, it came out. Sorry. Modern Warfare, Warzone. There's like
Warzone.
spin-offs of spin-offs as well.
Yeah, Warzone is the battle royale.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my god, dude, there's so many. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Oh yeah, the Black Ops series was huge as well.
Yeah, I will say the original Black Ops is one of the only COD games that I ever played like more than
The
once.
Black Ops?
The original Black Ops, yeah. That was probably like the only COD game that I played more than the amount of like I can count on more than one hand.
Wait, why am I seeing more than one Black Ops 3? Is there like different versions of Black Ops 3?
Not that I know of. There's 2 Black Ops. No, yeah. There's Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, but why is there like it keeps repeating itself? That's just weird. I guess it's from like different consoles, maybe.
Possibly.
But
That was released on everything except like the Wii U.
Dude, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was put on the DS.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. From I believe Modern Warfare up to like Black Ops 2 or 3, they had DS ports.
Yeah, like Call of Duty World at War was on the DS. Why?
That's a conversation for another day. Those games were weirdly popular and they were weirdly average. They weren't like it wasn't like painfully terrible where you could laugh at it, but it wasn't good. It was just plainly average.
It was just mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you like. Like, I don't know what people expect from a FPS game on the DS, but that's basically what you'd expect. It's the best.
I'm hoping that Doom is actually on that on the because you said that it's on like the like the history.
This is the Hall of Fame. This is the video game Hall.
I hope is Doom on that.
I would assume the original Doom is.
It has to be.
There.
It has to be. Doom was such a big like. It was such a big game, dude.
I'm sure. Like, yeah, you know, Doom,
Revolution.
Super Mario Brothers, maybe original Legend of Zelda, Pac-Man, Galaga, all that stuff. You know.
Yeah, it has to be. Those are like the OGs, you know.
Yeah.
Untouchables. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, are there any of these games in particular that you don't believe belong?
I think I told you already. Mattel football. I don't understand why. I get that it's like apparently it's like one of the first like handheld. But if you're gonna make the first handheld, make it look better. Like it looks.
I don't
like
think that was an option.
I
have Mattel Soccer. I know.
It looks so bad, dude.
It's not really it's debatably a video game. It's not.
It looks like a bomb. It looks like a bomb It literally looks like a trigger for a bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Actually, that would be a pretty good prop.
Oh shoot! Yeah, for our skits.
Yeah. The
that'd
last
be fun.
question I had is: are there any games you believe that should be nominated that are missing? And like, don't pick something obvious like Minecraft or Super Mario Bros. Pick something a little bit more obscure. That wouldn't
more obscure.
That you wouldn't immediately say, "Oh yeah, that's already on there."
I'm thinking the Super Smash Bros. I think that's actually not on the thing, right? I hope they are, but
It's a strong question.
Hall of Fame for games.
It's the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I would. It's honestly a good question.
Do they have it like on a list? Because I mean, like,
yeah,
I hope they put it on. Because let me search. Because like it was pretty big. It was like one of the biggest fighting games in the world, and it still is one of the biggest fighting games in the world. Brings all like the iconic Nintendo characters and other famous characters.
It's more than that now, even. But yeah.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
I
don't know where to look this up, dude. I don't know where the list is.
Okay, so here we go. So, okay, this is really interesting. So let's go through it. So the original 2015. So they started this in 2015. The original 2015 nominees were as follows: the original Doom, the original Pac-Man, the original Pong, which I'll give it that one, original Super Mario Bros., Tetris, and World of Warcraft. I think those all pretty much belong.
Yeah, they have their they make sense.
Pong, I hate Pong, but yeah, no, that
really I actually loved Pong. Pong was fun.
I mean, it's fun, but I mean, it's 2 lines and a dot. But yes, it has its place. I will give it that. 2016 inductees: Grand Theft Auto 3, which was the first 3D Grand
You're
Theft
cutting
Auto.
off, man. You've been cutting off like that.
That again, that's probably just you, but I'll repeat myself. Grand Theft Auto 3, which was the first Grand Theft Auto game to actually be like open world 3D. Like I think that was on the PS1. The original Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Invaders, original Legend of Zelda, original Oregon Trail, and the original Sims.
Nah, Sims don't belong there.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I think there are other things that probably belong there first.
Yeah, why Sims thought of the first place? Like, okay, I get people like Sims, right? Because it's like it's like a life game, and I just said like Animal Crossing is like a life game, but at least Animal Crossing had like these like interesting, like to me, it was like an interesting little concept where you can like, well, in New Horizon, the one I have now is like, you have like this island and it's like kind of like a story and you have a goal. Like Sims to me was such a boring generic game where you're just playing as a human being. Like I'm like I can do that in real life. It's
more like you're more of a god in the Sims. But honestly, I would have put Sim City.
I'm already a god.
I would have put Sim City. That was the original like EA Sim game. And that was a huge deal when it came out. That was on like literally everything. So I don't know. So
yeah, I remember that getting so much like advertisement and coverage.
Yeah, and then we got 2017 inductees. We got original Donkey Kong, Halo,
of course,
Pokemon Red and Green, Street Fighter 2.
Red and Green.
Yeah, that's those. Originally in Japan, it was Red and Green, not Red and Blue.
Oh, okay. I was just confused.
And Street Fighter 2. I would say those all pretty much belong.
Yeah, they belong there.
Street Fighter 2, debatably the best fighting game of all time.
My dad played it. I've never played it.
I haven't either, but just from what I understand, it has this mysticism around it that just makes it debatably the greatest fighting game of all time.
We need to buy some of these older games and just play them and figure out.
I have a Sega Genesis. I would love to play it. I should get it. Yeah. I think I could probably. It's definitely a copy of it at my local retro game store.
Yeah, anyway, that'd be epic.
2018 inductees: Final Fantasy VII, the original Madden Football, Space War, and Tomb Raider. Space War was an arcade game, if I remember correctly, but I will check.
Some of them fit there. I don't know Tomb Raider too much, so I'm not gonna comment.
Yeah, I have questions about Tomb Raider later. That was a huge deal when it came out on the PS1. That's all I'm gonna say. The 2019 inductees, we got Colossal Cave Adventure, Microsoft Solitaire, Mortal Kombat, and Super Mario Kart.
Bro, where is Super Smash Bros? Super Smash Bros came out so like a long while ago, and it's not even here, bro. What the hell?
Yeah. Okay, Microsoft Adventure, Colossal Cave Adventures. Okay, yeah, that belongs. Yeah, that's a very old game. Inspired Roberta Williams to create the first graphical adventure game, Mystery House, in 1980. Okay. Microsoft Solitaire, yeah, I guess. Mortal Kombat and Super Mario Kart, yes, I agree. All right, 2020 inductees. We got Minecraft. I was waiting for that one.
Of course.
King's Quest, which is an old. It's kind of like the Oregon Trail, from what I understand. It's like a text-based story. Original Centipede and the original Bejeweled.
Why? Bejeweled sucked. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, but it was very influential. It was a huge deal.
Yeah, my mom played that thing for hours back when it was a thing.
It became a built-in game with the original Motorola Razr cell phone.
Yeah, I still have that phone.
It was one of the launch games available on the Apple App Store for the first iPhone in 2007. I remember my dad had a Motorola Razr, and
I still have a Motorola Razr on my desk. I just have it.
Dude, I remember playing Bejeweled. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, oh my god, I'm playing a video.
I just got addicted to it.
No, like, the concept of playing a video game not on a DS. It was like,
oh yeah, that is revolutionary. That is insane.
I was like, whoa, everyone, just back up a minute.
Oh my god!
Are you telling me I could play Pokemon on this?
That'd be fun.
And that brings us to the 2021 inductees, and it looks like they've gone down to 4 per year. So I don't know what 4 they're gonna pick. So yeah, Smash Bros. I would say definitely does belong there, especially after the success of Ultimate. Obviously, Melee is still a huge competitive fighting.
I think not only just Ultimate. I think like overall, the beginning one was really. Like, think about it. Having all these iconic like characters just come together into playing this game. Like Street Fighter became iconic because of the fighting game, but it's like
Street Fighter was just a good fighting game.
Exactly, and it's like Super Smash Bros. Like is these iconic characters from different games all coming together to fight.
Yeah. No, I'd say the original Smash Bros. Definitely does belong on that list. I would have to say. I don't think there was a Kirby game on there. Ocarina of Time, I would say, belongs on there. I know I'm just listing Nintendo games because I'm a Nintendo buff, but like, maybe Dragon's Lair. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dragon's Lair, but that released in the
Dragon's Lair. I've heard of it.
That was on the arcades. In the arcades, I think that belongs there purely from I mean, it's debatably not a video game because it's just like quick time events essentially.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't know too much about it. I know that it's like an older game though.
It's an arcade game that is all. It doesn't look like a video game. Like it came out in the early '80s or something. And the weird thing about it is that it doesn't look pixelated at all. It's actually all hand drawn by one of the Disney animators from like the Disney Renaissance.
I think Dragon's Lair. Yeah, I'm looking that up because I know I heard of it, but I don't know the actual game. I've seen it.
I mean, it looks. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a game. Oh, I actually do remember this. Some YouTubers actually played this game.
Yeah, it came out on the Switch or something at some point.
Yeah, this is a very gimpy. It has some adult like things to it.
Oh yeah, well, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it looks like a very like a Disney thing as well. Yeah, you're right. It has like that Disney style to it, like the characters, the way they're drawn.
Yeah,
and all that.
The fact that that was like a big, difference from original Donkey Kong or the original Pac-Man.
Of course, yeah. Because this was like incorporating animations rather than like pixels and stuff.
Yeah, it's all of it was just pre-recorded, or
Yeah.
pre-drawn. It's not like
Which is, I think, is pretty cool. Cause yeah, I think, like you said, it should be on the video game Hall of Fame or whatever, right?
yeah,
Because it does bring about. I think this is like one of the first ones where you're like you can like be interactive with choices, right? Like you can get
yes,
choices of whether or not you, and like nowadays we do that with like even videos, right? Like some videos you can be like you can choose to save this thing and then you'll be sent to another video, right?
yeah. It's basically, I mean, with Dragon's Lair, it also was probably the first game to actually have quick time events. I would say,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't like quick time events. I'm one of them, but um, that the art style, the like, I don't know. It was an incredibly difficult game too. That was
Mhm.
another thing. It was really hard, and it was
Yeah.
very well known for just eating quarters out of kids' pockets. So that's another. I mean, that's kind of obscure. The only reason I was thinking about it, I have it on Game Boy Color, believe it or not,
Mhm.
which it doesn't look anything like it does in on like an arcade cabinet. But I was looking at the artwork, and I'm like, yeah, no, that should be on there.
The princess is wearing very promiscuous things.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah, I'm like looking at the characters that have been designed, and I'm like, it's definitely made by a horny white man.
Don Bluth, yeah, that's the guy who created them.
I mean, it
What?
looks like a fun game. I probably would like to play this game.
Yeah, it's on Switch. I mean, he did a
Yeah, but
sequel
is
of
it
it.
free though?
No, no.
Yeah, then I'm not buying it.
They made a sequel of it called, well, not a sequel, but they made another game that was just like it called. It's called like Space Adventure or something. It's like the same thing, but in space instead of medieval times, which is also cool.
Uh-huh.
Space Race, I think it's called something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Space
Yeah, I mean,
Ace. That's it.
Space Ace. That sounds so cringe.
It kind of is. But
Oh yeah, it looks similar. Yeah.
yeah, it's the same. It's same guy drew it. It's the same concept
Yeah.
basically.
Cringe. The way it looks is cringe. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna move
Alright.
on to
Yeah, let's move on.
Square Enix had their spring presentations and they announced a bunch of new games, most of which I don't really care about, but I think that we could talk about it for reasons other than the game itself. So the first thing, I know you said you don't have any interest in the Tomb Raider series or know anything about it,
Yeah.
but Square released the trailer and that they announced they're going to create a definitive survival trilogy of the 3 Tomb Raider reboots. And
Oh, they're rebooting it, or they're bringing back the reboots.
they're like bundling the reboots into one package.
Oh, okay.
They rebooted Tomb Raider in like 2014, I think.
Mhm.
Like they looked fantastic. Like the games looked fantastic. My dad actually played them. He's a bit of a gamer.
Of
but-
course, as you should.
Yeah, but so he played those games. I never did. I've seen it. They look like graphically they look great, and they look like fun. But really, the question that I have with this, because you said you haven't really played them, so I'm not going to ask
Yeah.
what your experience is because it's none.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm actually looking at the recent ones, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like the games for the new. I mean, it looks amazing.
yeah. Like graphically, they're very impressive games.
I kind of want to buy it now just because it looks so awesome. Like just from looking at the cover art, it looks insane, dude. What?
Yeah. No,
That's so cool.
they're really cool. I will have
I
to
want to
say.
look up the original one though.
Oh.
The original game.
All right, so there's
Let's
some
see.
stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's some stuff that goes along with that game. The big thing is character models.
Dude, I love her character model in her original game, bro. She's so sharp.
Yeah, well, that's the joke. Whenever anybody
That
would
is
cosplay as her, they would put the like they get like a cardboard.
Yeah,
box,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I can see that.
which I always think was really funny.
Yeah,
But-
that's funny. That's funny.
Like, so my question basically would be, do you think it's okay for devs to continue to re-release games even if they only came out like 2 or 3 years ago, and even if they don't make any actual changes to the game itself, whether that be graphical, more content, whatever.
Okay, so I have two thoughts to that. Cause I actually, to be honest, I've always like wanted a lot of these like gaming companies to bring back some of like the older games, even if it's just an exact copy onto a new console. Cause companies need to make money, right? So they always make new consoles, but you never are able to find the older console to play that old game. So you want to get it on the newer one.
Yeah.
So for one side of me is saying like, oh, that'd be really cool to make like a remake for a more updated console, so you can play it on a newer console. But the other one is like saying is like that's just a waste of money, right? Like that's the other side of the argument.
Yeah, because you already own the game. Why would you buy it again?
Yeah. To me personally, I mean, I've never played it, so if they do it, I'd definitely buy it. Like I want to play play as Lara Croft and play as Tomb Raider. Like that'd be epic.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this is smart because they're doing it as a trilogy of games, which they're probably going to make $60. But one game alone at retail was $60, so you're getting a deal with it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's okay.
Yeah, you get three games in one, pretty much, right? Like for the price.
Which is kind of like what they did with the Mario 3D All Stars thing.
Yeah.
Although I have opinions about that.
Oh yeah, I mean we can talk about that like later.
Yeah, I actually bring that up again in a bit. So next piece of news that I thought was somewhat relevant, even though I don't really care that much. Have you played the Marvel Avengers game?
No. Dude, any game that comes from Marvel is either really, really bad or it comes out mediocre. I'm not playing these games.
This was apparently really bad.
Okay.
And so they announced that they're adding Black Panther into the game. Just to start, you don't really need any content. Do you feel like he's a worthy addition to the game? Just to start off.
I mean, I don't know about the game itself, so I don't know. But yes, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Like, it's the Avengers, right?
I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't in there to start, to be totally honest.
Yeah, why would you not put him in? I'm very confused now.
They might have just started with like the OG Avengers. I think. I don't know.
I am looking at it right now. I mean,
apparently it's like a really bad game, to be honest.
I mean, just aesthetically, it looks okay.
Yeah, but apparently the gameplay is like.
Oh, what the fuck? Never mind. What the hell is that face?
Apparently the gameplay is just like really repetitive and boring, and
their face look like baby faces.
Yeah.
What do they do to Iron Man? They all look so weird. They look soft.
Well, like they use different actors. They didn't like copy Robert Downey Jr.'s face.
I know that, but it's like they look weird for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know.
It looks off.
I don't really have the answers. That's basically all I had for that topic because neither of us have played the game. I just saw it. I was like, I guess, yeah, that's interesting. Next one I think is kind of cool. Huh?
Why is there like a random girl in here?
There's
like a girl with like a lightning bolt in her chest, and she's like a woman, and she's in like.
I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know.
I don't really know enough about it.
Marvel, whatever. It's so dumb. Okay, next section.
Next game would be Space Invaders AR, which is basically Space Invaders but augmented reality, some a la Pokemon Go, where like you play Space Invaders hold on. You play it in like the real world. It's not like Pokemon Go.
I know what you're saying. No, please stop. There is a game like that. You remember like a while back, like this is like 5 years ago, I think, where you can buy a plastic gun and download like this app where you can like shoot like little flying aliens.
Vaguely.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, and I don't want it. I don't like this. I don't like this idea. Why?
Do you
Why
think,
you do this?
Well, here's the thing. Do you think it will be successful as a revival of
No.
Space Invaders?
No. I'm sorry, no.
Well, do you think it will cause other devs and publishers to dust off their arcade classics and try to revamp them like Square Enix has done with Space Invaders?
Maybe if they're, yeah, I think they will because they want money, but they're not because they're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Like, no, stop. Like, I'm actually genuinely getting annoyed by this. The fact that they're trying to revamp leave Space Invaders alone, dude.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah, I like them the way they are. Please stop. And how are you gonna make it into an AR? They come down like.
I don't know.
Are you gonna look up at the ceiling for the entire time and walk around?
I don't know, man.
My brain hurts from just that comment alone. Why?
I do think that I do kind of hope that it will cause other companies to dust off like maybe arcade classics and try to change them a little bit. Besides like Tetris, because they're always changing Tetris. But like
no, but Tetris is like an OG. It's like you can play that any generation. And
it's the same game pretty much no matter what.
Yeah.
But honestly, like Namco always releases a new Namco museum with Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, whatever on it, and it's always the same.
Pac-Man is OP.
Well, I know it's always the same. I'm just thinking, like, is there something they could do to try to shake it up?
I mean, I think Namco and like just overall the Pac-Man franchise has tried to evolve, and it's been hard for them, right?
Yeah, I know they did
because they did a TV show as well. I remember that.
They did they did 3D platforming Pac-Man games. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah, I think
Pac-Man World games.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I seen that one. I don't know. I think it's just Pac-Man itself is hard to just like split from what it actually is, because Pac-Man was so famous for eating pellets, going through a maze, killing the ghosts. So trying to rip that away from Pac-Man itself, it almost loses its own identity, because that game itself is implemented into it. Because Pac-Man has no personality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pac-Man itself is that platform, and where that little yellow ball goes is what Pac-Man is. That's why, like, when you play Mario, you can split him from actual original Mario game and play him in different things, because like they learned how to split him away from the actual game itself and give him like a bit of a personality, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's hard to give Pac-Man that personality to split away from other games.
Yeah, I would agree, actually.
I mean, I hope they do well on like this new AR thing, but I feel like they should have just made a newer and better version of Space Invaders rather than just converting everything into AR.
Yeah, because actually Space Invaders has really not been touched. As far as I know, it just has not really been touched since the original. Has not.
I mean, they have made mediocre copies of them, like in the mobile games and just like.
Well, that's another.
But it's like, I don't know, like leave the OG like game alone. It's such a good game that should just be left alone, and hold sacred.
Okay, so my final video game topic is it's the last part of the presentation, the Square Enix presentation. Have you played Life is Strange, or do you know what it is?
No, neither. I'm sorry, I haven't actually played like older games.
This is not older. This is fairly recent.
Life is Strange. Oh, actually, I do know this. I do actually. No, I know what you're talking. No, yeah. From looking at it, I know what it is. Okay.
Have you ever played one of like the Telltale games?
No, I have not, but I have seen people play it.
Yeah, so it's basically like one of those. So they announced that they're going to be remastering the original Life is Strange, and that they're also planning this like spin-off.
Wait, Telltale games are the ones. The Telltale games are the ones with like that cartoonish kind of look to it, right?
Yeah, they made like
Borderlands.
They did The Walking Dead.
They also did Borderlands, right?
I don't think so. Telltale Games is out of business.
I'm pretty sure they made Borderlands. The way it looks, it seems very similar to Borderlands. Telltale? Yeah, I think they are, dude.
I don't know. Hold on.
Tales from Borderlands. I think they've made it. Why do I feel like they did?
Borderlands devs are Gearbox Software. as their name. Published by 2K. Those are the devs and publishers of Borderlands.
After being pulled from store virtual shelves in 2019, following the demise of Telltale Games, Tales from the Borderlands finally returned to sale. I think they did.
They didn't develop the main Borderlands games.
Yeah, like the side game. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they made like Minecraft story mode. They did the Walking Dead games. They had a ton of projects, and actually, the problem with them was that they had too many to the point where like they couldn't keep up, and then they died.
That's an F for respect.
Now, Life is Strange was not developed by them, but it's like the same type of game. Basically, it's like story driven choices game. There's like no actual gameplay.
Of course.
So do you
like
think...
a game should, have game parts to it?
So yeah, they announced a remaster of the original episodic games, and then they announced like a spin-off basically in like the same universe with a different characters, I guess. So the way they release these games is in episodes, so you have to pay for each episode of the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Do you think that these, and they did that with Telltale as well, do you think that these type of episodic release games are still relevant, or are people still gonna like be like, I'll pay $20 for each episode?
Yeah. See, Telltale, I think an issue with them is, or just overall like the way they make games, right? Is like they make it almost as if it's like a TV show where it's like you make like, the first episode is like, and then it continues to the next episode, and then you have to pay for each episode. Is dumb. I think it's stupid.
I would have to agree.
It drains the money off of the customer, and there's a certain limit to how much the customer can get fucked by the company. But this is way too much. Where it's like now it's like, really, I have to pay. Like, let's say there was 5 episodes for one game, then I have to pay. I have to pay $100. Why? But why?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Completely agree.
Like normal full length games are $60, and then I would have to pay $100.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're not gonna make just 3 episodes unless it's long.
No. Yeah. That's kind of the problem. Or sometimes I think Telltale actually did seasons, but Life is Strange did episodes, which was just not like, that's actually what turned me, because like it seemed like an interesting premise from what I don't even remember what it was, but like like back when I first looked at it, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I have to buy each episode. No, never mind. It's not that interesting. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a certain limit, and then they're just like overreaching now.
Yeah, and I really don't think, like, my next question was like, did you play the original? Which was no, neither of us have.
I did not. We can skip that.
And do you think the spin-off is something that you'd be interested in? And
no.
And
no, I'm not paying that much goddamn money to do that.
Yeah, no, even if it was like an intriguing story, right? I'm not gonna buy. That's a lot of money to invest into a story that I already don't care that much about.
Exactly. All right. I think we're done with that topipic. We can kind of
So we're gonna switch gears again.
Yeah, switch gears into school life. We were gonna ask Noah some questions, but he kind of had other stuff to do. So we're gonna skip section 3. We're going to section 4. To the audience that are still listening to this episode, since this is actually super long already. So section 4, we're just telling you guys like updates, series that are gonna come up on Cesspool.
Yeah.
Since actually, so Tyler owns a company called, or like he has this company called Minecraft After School Productions, MAS, and I own my own studio, which is in Korean. It's very hard to say, but it's Tweetbook. So it's we have like plans to put things underneath Cesspool. Some of them are like survival games, which is Tyler's idea. That's gonna come soon. A Minecraft series, which is my idea, which we're gonna kind of sort of collab on. and other video game series, philosophy. We have like a huge range of interests, so we're gonna probably talk about those things
Yeah.
as well. And that's pretty much it for section 4.
Well, I
Do you have
just
anything to add?
I
Yeah.
want to elaborate because you kind of you mentioned survival
Just
games.
skimmed over it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to go like by survival games. I'm not talking about as like playing Minecraft survival games.
Yeah,
That
he
is
means
definitely-
something.
It's what original. That's definitely what people would originally like connect it to. So,
Yeah.
survival games is the first episode in a longer series that I want to do on the Cesspool, which is basically it's like a review. Well, they're short video essays on video game topics. Generally, there might be other topics sprinkled in, but they're all going to kind of have a connecting, like overarching story, like just kind of sprinkled in like little continuity things. They're all going to be like slightly connected. Maybe there'll be like one episode of the show where it'll be like a bigger story thing rather than like actually a video essay. But the majority, they're just basically video essays about video games. Or
They have a bit of lore in them too.
yeah, they will like the first episode is about survival games, and by that I mean like
He has crash landed.
well I mean like they're like survival crafting survival games, or before that Oregon Trail stuff like that, games about surviving, which is actually a series that I've had in cold storage for maybe 6 months. So
Yeah, there's gonna be some discrepancies there.
but yeah,
and
like
for Minecraft, yeah, I wanted to elaborate on my part as well.
yeah,
here.
sure.
So Minecraft series. So obviously we're gonna do probably a co-op with me and Tyler, probably just playing normal vanilla survival, try to beat the game. There's also another thing I have in mind, which is like a kind of like a lore-based server, kind of like what Dream SMP has been doing. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing that on my own, but definitely want to show that off, kind of give everyone a pretty cool, thing to watch. Obviously we have other stuff in mind, but that those things are still in like planning phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is it. Like we're thank you for watching.
Yeah, that's
please
basic.
subscribe and like this video.
As
Comment on
always.
anything. Yeah, comment on anything you wanted to talk about, because I'll definitely respond to comments, because there's literally like no comments at all anyways. I'm assuming a lot of our audience have different opinions to us, especially for current events, so that would be nice to hear your perspectives. And we will see you soon in the next episode.
See you guys then.